Hi. I want to begin by welcoming all of you to this panel titled Women in Film, Breaking Barriers and Rewriting Narratives. This year marks the 50th anniversary of what is known in Iceland as the Women's Day Off, which refers to the day when, in 1975, 90% of the nation's women walked off their jobs and into the streets. The strike exposed how deeply society depended on women's undervalued labor and became a turning point in the country's pursuit of gender equality. Our panel today gives us space to reflect on how questions of gender equality resonate across cinema today, both critically and constructively, by not only examining inequities, but also highlighting the ways women are actively reshaping cinema as storytellers, decision makers, and leaders of institutions. Our panelists, which you see here, panelists, are filmmakers and industry advocates, and I would like to begin by introducing them briefly. And we will start with 𝗨𝗶𝗂𝗶𝗲𝗏, who is Peruvian and Swiss. She comes to us from Switzerland right now. She's living. She is both a director and writer and has directed 3 feature films. Her latest feature, Queens, which was screened here at RIFF, premiered at Sundance last year and went on to win awards at Berlinale, Locarno, and Festival de Lima. The film was also Switzerland's candidate for Best International Feature in the 2025 Oscars. Margrét Örnólfsdóttir is an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and composer who has long been at the forefront of Icelandic television drama. As chair of the Icelandic Dramatists Union for 12 years until 2024, she has played a key role in cultural politics, representing Icelandic screenwriters nationally and across the Nordic and European arenas. 𝗨𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏 is an acclaimed Iranian filmmaker. Her debut, The Day I Became a Woman, screened at RIFF yesterday. It premiered at the Venice Film Festival in 2000, winning 3 awards. She wears many hats, like most of these women. She's director, writer, cinematographer, and editor, and has worked alongside her husband and children, the 𝗨𝗶𝗏𝗏 family, on numerous films. Ursula Mayer is an award-winning Swiss director and writer and producer. Her feature films Home and Sister, screened in this festival, premiered at Cannes and Berlin in 2008 and 2012, respectively, winning international acclaim and multiple awards. In addition to her feature films, she has directed shorts and documentaries, to much acclaim. And finally, 𝗨𝗶𝗂𝗏 𝗨𝗂𝗏𝗧 is an award-winning Greenlandic filmmaker, a director, writer, and producer who has worked in film and television. Her featured debut, 𝗨𝗨, was the first Greenlandic feature by a female director and won multiple international awards. She also founded the Look International Film Festival, where she was festival director from 2016 to 22, which champions Arctic and indigenous cinema. Welcome. I would like to begin by inviting you to say a few words, give a little opening statement, each of you. Just speak from the heart.
It's my first time in Iceland, so I'm enjoying my time here very much. I've discovered the swimming pools, the world swimming pools, and it's been amazing. So I would actually love to be, a night in the resident. And you must have like a very healthy lifestyle, because And it seems something very natural. So that's for me.
You should come here in the winter. I'm gonna make a decision after that. Maybe in January, whereas I change your mind. But
as honored and happy I am to be here with all you wonderful women. I really look forward to the day when we don't need to have a panel like this, or when you have a panel that is female filmmakers and then we have the male filmmakers talking about their, that I think that is when we reach equality, or we can just start to talk about cinema and our craft and be just human beings doing that.
very good point. Yeah, I also look forward to that moment. Marcia?
Yes. Actually, I would like to thank the festival to invite us. It is a great opportunity to stay with you in the theater and here as well, because I love to watch the film, even my film, with the audience in the theater. So I had a very good time last night, and I'm so happy I'm here with these great women, aren't they? So let's see what's going on.
No, I'm very, very happy to be here. As I said yesterday, Iceland, I don't know why it's a fantastic to be here. I don't know why, because it's an island, like Switzerland in a way, because no, Switzerland is an island, Iceland, Europe. There is no sea, but it's an island. So, no, and yes, and when I hear it, it's what's the feeling to live in Iceland. I thinking about that until I hear how you feel that to be in Iceland. I'm very curious because it's strange, though, no? And though I'm very happy to be here with this amazing like
Happy to have you here. Have a look.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here. I've been here for several times and doing different panels and really love being in Iceland, and have worked a lot with Iceland, with filmmakers and co-producing, and so it's always a pleasure to be here. And especially in these panels, I just want to say that it is sometimes really hard to do these panels when it is like female perspective, because I just feel I am a director, I'm a writer, and it's not often when you say it's the first female director from Greenland, which is some of the first film from Greenland. So it's just like breaking the barriers of anything in filmmaking, and I think what Iceland does often now, and we really look into the lot of productions here really is engaged by women, and it's not because it's women, because there's just a really talented group of people here which I really resonate with. So I'm looking forward to see where you're going in this conversation today.
This is very fun to hear talk about this, both you and Margaret, because one of my questions that was possibly going to ask was, how do you feel about being here in this panel about women in film? Because it's a bit of a bummer to be in this position all the time talking about it in that way, but hopefully we can have a good time anyways, and talk about both the challenges and the positive changes that have been happening and stuff like that. So the first question that I was going to pose to all of you is, how has your national or cultural context shaped the opportunities available to you as a filmmaker? And by cultural context, I refer to access to funding, networks, distribution, or just the kind of stories that get to be made. And it would be great if you could share a short example from your own career. Does anyone want to start?
Yeah, I think it's very much, it's a female, but it's a cultural thing as well, as you're saying, because as an island, Greenland, which is a population of 56,000 people, and we have like a handful of people that want to make films and want to have your voice out, but we are a nation that actually is the first where there ever was a camera 110 years ago filming from the days, the 𝗨𝗿𝗀𝗂𝗶𝗲𝗿, and the first Oscar nomination for Denmark was a Greenlandic film shot in Greenland. So all of this happening for 90 years to today is still like a nation building on telling our own stories, even if I'm female or not. And I think it's sometimes I have a really good business partner with 𝗨𝗿𝗀𝗂𝗶𝗲𝗿, based in Copenhagen. So we are trying to challenge this thing, how to get access, but it's more cultural than it is female, I think, for me. But of course, like sometimes I have dealt with every time sometimes we talk about money, they look at me, and I'm like, but it's switching, like, because it's just how to claim you want to be in the story, you want to be at the seat, you want to write them, you want to be producing. So, but I think for us in Greenland, especially being such a small population, it is much the eager to want to tell our own stories and not have others telling them.
It's a really point.
I think, if that book from the Icelandic point of view, and I've been in this business long enough to remember before and after. Of course, we have not implemented quotas, like gender quotas. It's not like in the regulations, but it is implemented like informally, but a little bit more than that. So that sort of maybe came to place about 10 years ago or so, and of course because there was a lot of dispute about it, and people were not happy with the imbalance, and this has changed I think our industry and just the accessibility a lot, and I mean I think the situation now is like you could not submit an application to the film fund with all male or like all female. You are, even if it was only women, you are in, it's an unbalanced application. And I think by now, I mean, we have quarreled about it quite a lot. Now it's just become natural awareness. So it's not even talked about so much, but you can sort of you can feel that even if you're not thinking about it all the time, every time that you look at somebody puts a new project before you, and you can see this, it's like 10 male characters and 2 women. It's like and to find it out, and that's it. It's like, oh yeah, of course. So we are, I think, quite far, on that, in this kind of evolution. But as you pointed out, I mean, we had the 50 years ago, the women's strike, and then a few years later, we had the first female president in the world. So Iceland has always been, a little bit ahead in those. I mean, we are just so few people that you need all hands on deck,
Yeah.
no matter what it takes. So yeah, I can't complain, but I remember it was very made when I started off. I was usually the only woman in the group.
Yeah.
And I was okay, but it was imbalanced.
I mean, they were good too. And, we have a little bit in common with Greenland in the sense that our film industry is also quite young, not as young as yours, but, we only really started making films, every year in the 80s. So it takes a while also to get more gender equality in that industry and all these things. It's also really hard to make a film, whether you're a male or a woman. It's really a lot of problems with like funding and stuff like that. But I would like to ask you also to give your thoughts.
Well, I think the positive things that I've seen the last years that there's more female presence, in festivals, which means we actually get a point of view that is different from the one I grew up with. I grew up, with a cinema that was done by males, and some of them are masterworks that I absolutely love, but some of them I never got into it because, it's just like a very different, point of view. So now the good thing is that I can see, in many places of the world that women are actually becoming, storytellers, either writing, either directing, and that it is important to have that other point of view. Many festivals are still, headed by male programmers, especially the bigger ones. So, some of them are very sensitive to this, some of them are not. But, the strange thing for me is that I think we are going a bit forward, but somehow the way we actually build up, something that could probably maybe become some kind of like balance, we actually go backwards, Every time we do like one step forward, there's like 3 steps backward. That's how I feel, And, one of the things is that, what they told, what they said about having this kind of panels, I would love to be just invited to do a panel about talking about cinema, not about female filmmakers, because, we get kind of stuck. We get like, in a place, some kind of like no man's land, being like, okay, so I have to like think what is an exact,
Yeah. What is a woman?
Yeah, well,
Does it mean?
It would actually be great to have these conversations also with, men and, all ages and generations. So I think some things, could help and some things do not help. But there's no key. There's not like specifically on how to and where to. The last time that I did Reinas that was here, I shot it in Lima, in Peru. And I'm from Peru. And it's a place where you do not have really an industry of cinema. You have soap operas, you have commercials, you don't have that. So it's like another story, it's you have to fight up, about something else, not so much about the, the gender perspective, but about actually being able to do, offer cinema, So.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. You're all bringing, gender is definitely an issue, but there are so many other things that also.
I mean, it's like he said, it's very expensive. Yeah, cinema, it's just very expensive. So you can't, unless you actually want to do some experimental, amazing projects. If you want to do the kind of films that I do, like they do, you need money.
Yeah,
and you need to work with what's around you.
No, the more I learn about how people make movies, the more surprised I am that anyone does it, has the energy and stamina. So, Marcia, do you want to?
Actually, coming from Iran, my country, which had a very religious government and very, how can I say, the religious people who wanted to push back the women of being in a good position. It was very difficult on that time when I started cinema, but nowadays is much better, and too many women are involved with a good job and having a good opportunity to make film. But still we need more. And for example, in our family, we have 3 female filmmakers. But in our country, compared with my country, we had on that sign, we had only 10. So 12 were out of 10. So it's not enough. We need more because sometimes the culture doesn't let, sometimes the government doesn't let the women grow. But still, you are trying to break this boundaries.
Yeah, this makes me think of what you said. If before I go to yours, so I wanted to kind of mention what you said yesterday at the moderated discussion about censorship. And could you tell everyone about the meeting you went to after they became a woman, when they were giving you notes?
Do you want me?
Yeah, could you repeat it? I just so interesting.
Yes, when because they have several stages of censorship in Iran. First, when you are thinking about making a film, you should go and explain them what is the subject about, or if they let you, then you can write it down. So after writing down the script, they should read it again. So they let you have the stuff for making film. After the film is ready, after editing and everything is ready, they have to see it if there's permission to be shown or not. My film was ready, and they announced you have to come here and answer some question. So I arrived there with the day I became a woman, my film. When I arrived there, there was a few of men there and sitting around the room, and I was the only female which I was there. They started to asking questions. I said, just a minute, because I need to add, because this thing is about women, and the title is The Day I Became a Woman, and I'm a woman director. So I expect at least one lady here. But they said it is as it is. So they started asking questions. I was questioning, and I was trying to explain so many things to them. But at the end of the day, they didn't accept whatever I said, and they said it's not allowed to show with film. Because as you know, all of you know, we make film first. When we make film, first we think about our nation. We are talking about the common pain of our women over there. So, but they didn't let me show my film. They didn't screen it in the cinemas, and they didn't let me took it with me abroad. But they kind of how can I say? Didn't say the truth to them, and we carry it outside for showing in the other countries.
Well done.
Really happy you did.
Also, it's difficult to talk. So, no, maybe an anecdote, because it's reveals the situation maybe in Europe. I was lucky to be asked to be president of the jury of the 𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗏 in Cannes, so it was great. That, and journalists told me the question: do you think it's because you are a woman that they ask you to be the president? So it's me that it's pervert, because I'm a woman and they asked me to be president of the jury, and at the same time, a journalist asked me, it's because you're a woman. You never feel your place as a woman. You are president of the jury, you are a president. It's because of my movie, I think, not because I'm a woman. So it's very strange as this kind of question now. It's because so, yes. And I said, if you ask me a question, there is still a big problem, because I don't have to question. And yes, so for me, I maybe it's also good to talk about film school, because I made a film school as not own but lot of director, and I decided to go in Belgium because I really need to have a distance with Switzerland to see Switzerland from long or and so it was a long time ago, and I realized years later that we were just two women in the 15 boys, man. And but I don't realize that at this moment, but no more in a way. So I was, and the second woman was she did a year again. So she was not. I was the only woman going the second year. So but yes, and it was very funny because with the distance, I remember that I was very fan of woman director, and I think it helped me to keep fighting, and Jane Campion and Esvarda, and I saw at this moment, at this period during my study, I watched a lot of woman director. I think it's not conscious, but maybe to say we can make film, so it helped me, I think, a lot. And after the school, now I'm teaching, and by chance, that's a good way, because there were a lot of women in film school now, in Europe, in France, Switzerland, Belgium. So it's going the good way, but as you said, it's not so easy, because you can see that there is not a first feature, less second feature, and the third feature there is not so much. So that's strange.
Yeah. That's got my head turned. Can I say something, because you were talking about film schools, and I just maybe, as I said before, that we are, we have gone really far, into making sort of the balance of who gets to make films and so on. But I was in a panel some years ago, not so many years ago, and there was this I'm not gonna name names, and I'm not gonna say who was somebody who was in charge of a film school, and was talking about how there were like equally as many girls or boys or men and women as students. And then there was somebody in the audience who was a former student of that school, who asked, so how do you explain that the films that you show, which is part of the curriculum, there was, you want to guess, because in like a 200, like a package that they bought of 200 films to teach film history. You want to guess how many of those were directed by women? None? Oh, of one. And it became a really awkward conversation. Those always the bit, and they had ordered from somewhere, so something that they sold to teach film students film history, and there was not one, that got into the package. So it can be really sneaky, when you can see, just this behind this front of equality, and then when you start looking behind the scenes, it's maybe not. Yes, it's terrible. Or not even one, no, nothing, no. I just didn't make it really top. No, that's 200. Well, yes. This is very interesting to me, but there has also been a lot of change when you look at the sight and sound list, the way that's been developing. The latest edition is every 10 years, the 10 best films of all time, the 100 best, and there are there's more diversity, especially in the last one. And Jean Dillman by Chantal Achterman was on the top of the list, which is also, I think, a reaction to this gender blindness that a lot of some have had over the years. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off track. So, looking back at your journey, how has this, like, just being a woman in this industry, affected you? Like I said, it's hard to make a film for anyone, but what like specific challenges do you find that women have to face? And you know, is it also different? Because a lot of you have, I think all of you have done many different things, like writer, director, producer, and all of that. Is it different depending on what role you take on, the challenges? And also, on a lighter note, are there any scenarios where being a woman can be an advantage, a good thing while making a film? Is there any, you know, anything you have to say about that?
Yeah, if you need to breastfeed.
Yes, Lisa, that's really useful.
Real.
Then get what is that?
I was trying to make a joke. Breastfeed somebody else. It's really hard to repeat that joke.
I think it's hard to actually, and for me, it's hard to answer to this question because being a director and also a writer, you're pretty lonely, and you learn how to do the next film all over again because every project is just so different. So you only have walls, and you have to go through these walls. So I had no idea what the others do. I've never been to another set, like, you know, or colleagues. They work on different sets. As a director, I don't get to go to other sets. I don't get to compare. I don't, you know. So I know it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone. Of course, then there are numbers. So suddenly, maybe, you know, after I've done a project or another, I find out that, you know, maybe like, you know, this other, you know, filmmakers, you know, maybe it's easier because of the numbers. But it's very difficult to actually give specifics on this because you're very lonely, actually, as a director, you know? I mean, at least I am. I don't know.
I mean, it's a very fair question because obviously none of you have made a film as a male, so you don't have the comparisons.
And I think it's important to say that the filmmaking is very hard, no matter what. Are you a female or male or like it is just it's so few is doing it in the world and really doing it in trying to scale from local to internationally, and like I'm in my 40s now. Started when I was 26, so being almost 20 years now and getting a kid and have to travel the world at the same time. And so for everyone, it is really difficult and lonely at times for each project. But I think as a writer or storyteller, it is, of course, like when we tell the stories, if it's not something, a novel come in and you want to adapt it to a TV series, which I did. And I had a female director doing the TV series, and with her, she was really my mentor, 𝗨𝗶𝗀𝗂𝗶𝗲𝗏, a really strong female director from the UK, and looking up to her. She's like 10 years older than me, but she has like the experience of the last 10 years was really crucial. How it takes time to find your voice, to do the projects, no matter what. So, and I think the advantages of being maybe in a writing room, doing a TV series, or when you're actually not that lonely, it is like having females. You could really. I was in a writing room, we were only females. And then the one who did notes was a male, and he like jumped in. And there was just sometimes when it was so much easier, which was, and faster. Again, like it's like in culture, if I'm talking with someone from the South Milan, it's much easier to work with them because we just understand indigenous and the colonial way of not deal with things, so how we should deal with it. Like, so I think the advantage is when we are empowering each other in want to be in the writing room or being chosen. Or I was talking with some of the students yesterday, and I said to them, always say no. Like the best thing I think is saying no to things to get what you want and know what you want. And it takes time. Yeah, I don't know, but it makes through the question, but it's
Yeah, I mean, this is also and having a shared experience or shared like way of thinking or understanding the world is always helpful. Like you said, it's not just the gender, but
but it's being a mom too.
yeah,
Like having to travel is so much and have a base. Like I'm gonna say to mom. So I've traveled with him since he was 3 months old.
yeah.
But it's you really want to do this. If you sitting here, right?
Should get extra funding just. But this is also changing the select. For example, now I'm in a writers room with 2 men, and they both have young children. My children are all grown up, and I don't need to take so much care of them. But they are always like having to quit early. Somebody gets a stomach bug or whatever, and I'm just looking at them. But yeah. But I want to maybe make one point, because something that I've felt through all of my career, because I started off as a composer. I really want to be a film composer. That was really my dream when I started my film career, so to say. And it was really hard because there were very few films made in Iceland at that time, and also, I just found out that in order to get those gigs, I would really need to hang out in bars and go to the directors and the producers and just go to the parties with them. And, I was just a young mother and I could not do that, So there was this kind of networking that man and, seemed to have somehow an easier way of making those clubs. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's just maybe in this sense, I think the genders are very, very different, because we, women have like, other kinds of clubs. But they are more sort of, in a business friendship, sometimes, I don't know how they do it, but it's, somehow it seems to be more natural for them to do that. And for us, it's more of an effort when we want to establish something similar to it. I don't know if that is like a shared experience, but that is something that I've noticed also when I was a musician and a writer of books. There was always those gangs of guys who were really having so much fun together, and something came out of it, and you couldn't really sneak in,
Mm-hmm. You want to add? Yes, I believe making film as a female director, either you should be crazy, or you should be in love with cinema, or you wanted to feel responsibility for how can I say, for a few people who has no voice, voiceless people talking instead of them or on behalf of them. I have made 3 films in 3 different countries, which the culture are very close, and they have the same language in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and in Iraq, which all are very male-dominated. With the culture, with the religion, with so many things that push the women back. So it's very difficult to work in a team, in a crew that you're working with first of all, you have to try, you have to spend more energy, twice maybe more than a man, to just first to prove yourself. The film is yours, and the idea comes from yours. So then, when you are there, nobody wanted to listen to you as a female director, and it's very crazy. Every minute you have to prove yourself, or you should change your behavior, not to be as your gender, just to act as a male to be accepted by them, which I don't really like it, because I'm a woman. I like to be a woman and to be a director. So you have to show your stuff and so serious. Otherwise, no one accepts you.
Ursula, would you like to? No, it's very interesting. Yes. No, it's as when I made my film school, it's a lot of boys, and it was funny because they had you as a, how to say, I know what I want on the set. They are very directed. Yes, it camera, and there are something very close with the camera, with the material, you know, and me, I was totally the opposite. When I am on the set and I don't know, I say, I don't know, you know, because I don't know. You know, I heard an anecdote of a very famous director. He don't know, and he say, now I will make a traveling 20 meters. It was just because he was thinking at the time taking, so that it's typical, you know, that I have to behave as a director. There is a behavior, yes, it's a care, what, yeah. It's true. And yeah, but sometimes like, we don't know. No? And well, the setter, he said, no, I'm just with Tal, and okay, but yes, not a lot, but and maybe sometimes it's this kind of yes, you have to look like more, even if you don't know, but you have to look like, yeah. But I like to say it's sometimes playing with that to say no, I don't know, but sometimes it's a joke. Yes, and it's gone very early. The film school is what like that or so, and because I remarked that yes, as I said, the camera, when you go very far from the camera, you have a lot of women, and when you go closer to the camera, you have more man. It's tripping the feeling with it. That's why I'm lucky to work with Agnès Godin, with the famous Zimbis. She's a woman, and she used to work with Wim Wenders, Claire Denis, and so, and for her it was, I know it was very difficult as a camera woman, more maybe than a film director, because this is a camera, and it's, yes, for women it's not easy to be so close. This is the eye and the camera, so that's why for the technician and for, but now it's start to have more DP, women DP, and that's really great things, because it's very important, very.
Yeah, I mean, you work so closely. Yeah, I can imagine that being a woman director and having a female DP would be like
it's because she's good. And yeah, sometimes a woman, I don't care, but she's so amazing DP, and she's a woman. That's it's. But she used to work with a lot of men, of course. So it's easy to direct it as a DP. Money.
I just started to think about the female director I know that had this DP who was like, yes, and then he just did what he wanted to do. And yeah. So anyway, thank you. We have time for more. So what do you feel like has helped you really or made a tangible difference in your career in terms of like specific networks or practices or strategies like funding initiatives, for example, or policy changes? Like, is there anything like that that has helped you? Or do you see any opportunities or progress that is shaping women's work in cinema now? Is there anything that has been changing in a positive way? Or, anything that you're aware of, anything you can see benefiting women in cinema today?
And what helped me a lot is to see women directing.
Yeah.
Yes. As I said, whether I make my school, you talk about 𝗨𝗿𝗂𝗶𝗲𝗿. I was in Brussels, so she was very important, 𝗨𝗿𝗂𝗶𝗶, for me, because she's a woman and she made amazing film. And also Agnès Varda, that I'm really lucky to meet her. So I really need to see women film and women direct. I think it was the best for me. It helped me a lot. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what you guys are doing now. For other younger women.
That's what I'm teaching, and I try to be. What I'm teaching, I like sometimes to work with young director, woman director. Yes, also to say they go fight.
Yeah. I think what really makes the difference in a career, obviously, of a director, are almost, unfortunately, I would say, the bigger festivals. Because that's like a game changer. Obviously, you can have a film. If it gets into, the bigger festival, Cannes, Venice, Berlin, Sundance, then you do have a chance to actually, go into that other kind of route, But in order to get there, you need your film to get accepted. And in order to get accepted, well, there's like tons of things at play. It's like humans that are watching these films. So it depends who watches it, right?
Yeah.
When 𝗨𝗏𝗀𝗏 is like my third feature, and I could say that it's a small film. We don't have like an international cast. We have like good funding, but for this kind of film, so it's not like a huge, budget funding for this kind of film. So it's the kind of film that you have no idea what's going to happen. I knew I had a film that was sustainable, that was, good, but you have no idea, because it really depends on what hands the film's going to land. And that's going to launch the film, and so your career, and so more women filmmaker, and so that we can actually get other younger filmmakers being like, oh, so that film's been traveling, so, this is inspiring. Just like, I was also inspired by Agnès Varda and by, a bunch of other women filmmakers. So there is something in there that it is difficult, When 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was actually selected in Sundance, crazy enough, I sent the film very late in the process. Like the deadline was September 1st, and we couldn't send it by then. But I sent the film at the end of November.
Oh, wow.
It was totally close.
Yeah.
Somehow it got there, and 3 days later they called me and they said, you are in competition. We have received 7,000 films. We only picked 10 films. Those international things, and your film is on it. And I knew this was going to be a game changer. It doesn't mean that my film was better or worse than the other 7,000 films, that were set. It's because it got into those hands that suddenly, because when I got to Sundance, I was like, please tell me what happened, I need to understand what happened. And it's just in the math of like the people that were hanging out together, and suddenly, they told me there was this film missing and we couldn't find it. And then we got the film and it fit into the program. You know what I mean? So it's not about really 100% the film. It's about something else. But, that's kind of like the story. So,
well, both the film, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, the reality is that I have a good film. So, but in 7,000 films, there's like tons of amazing films. Mm-hmm. So you do have that to push a bit. Sometimes I would think maybe it helps to actually have a few more women program, programmation or like, as a head up, because maybe that you read, the films differently. Maybe, some of them do, maybe not. But that's, the exposure of a film is what actually makes the big change into cinema, be made by different people. When I'm in the US, I'm not only like a female, I'm also Latino. So I fit like in another kind of like minority thing, It's kind of like same thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, there has been an increase in like women leading film festivals. And yeah, it is definitely important to have programmers and people that notice your film or see it. But, and I always think it's funny when someone says that, I just pick the best movies, I only meant
There's best movies. Yes. It's always to do with, yes or not. And whoever watches them, whoever can see themselves in the movies. That's it.
Yeah. Anyone else want to talk about what has like been beneficial, what's changing, what has maybe changed?
I would like to say your word. Actually, we are half of the human being as a females. And we are the half, we gave birth the other half. So, working is very necessary for us. We need to keep continuing our job and our responsibility. And we are the one who could explain ourselves better than the male. No one else can make our voice. And we are the one who can make film on behalf of the children as well, because we are so close and so involved with them. So I think we have a better voice if we try more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And not to say that people can't, grasp someone's like perspective, but yes, of course, women need to make films. And you've been talking about like how the importance of seeing work by other filmmakers and obviously women making films. Do you see any ways to make more of those, like to help women make more films, or anything that we haven't touched upon that you would like to add to that?
I don't understand the question.
Like, is there anything that you would like to see for the younger generations? Like, you want to change something, you want something to that could help, because women are still a minority in the film industry.
Just take it easily, because cinema is not the very special things. If by digital we can make film as well, it's very easy. Let's go for it. But if you have an idea, if you are strong enough, it doesn't matter. Nowadays, many people make film with the iPhone. The idea is good. If the board is waiting for your voice, it would find its own place. And it's not something we cannot achieve.
So that's very important. And, the person who won the Oscars this year made, his first, one of his most famous films doing exactly that. Do you want to add something to that? Like,
maybe I would like to talk a little bit from the perspective of my business, or I mostly write TV series, and it's very different. I think it's quite a different. It's filmmaking, of course, but it's more of a business, and I think, of course, you can get away with just being the writer and just want to have nothing to do with the business side. If you choose to do that, you will always just be the writer who is not really doesn't take part of the whole thing. But I think so for me, I think the important thing is to take agency and to claim the your part in the decision making, becoming even a producer, like a writer producer, or at least just you have to fight a little bit for your place in this, because if you don't, there's going to be a younger guy who is just really ambitious, and he will become the head writer before you just turn around it. All of a sudden, he has just got it up, and you have no idea what happens. So it is. I think you also have to be aware how the machine works, and just make it yours if you want it. If you don't, then okay. But it's, if you're gonna wait for somebody to offer it to you, you'll never get it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's especially I did a TV series for 5 years, and starting out as the only indigenous person on the project, which was a story. It's a really, really big production, like the German, US. It's from a very famous book called *Smilescence of Snow*, and it's coming out now. And we have been writing it for so many years. But at some point, it was hard to get even a culture voice, or even my voice through of just wanna from the business side, and you have to take a stand in some way. And I think I really look up to 𝗨𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗲𝗏, which is she's showrunner and director on it, and she just got through. We were like us two, and she said you have to be an executive, and so we are 4 executive on the show, which is such a big show, right? And it was important, not as a woman, but as a voice to take that, even though it's not that I'm not only a writer, but we need to have the business side awareness as well. Otherwise, in these stories, it's a hook. We want a crime, but no, and we're talking about colonialism. Please let us be in this lane. So it's many hacks, but I think it's women helping women as well, with Amma and me, this partnership. And then the other partnership I have with me, which is a male, it's a really nice dynamic that we are male and female on different takes, producing wise, and he's only producing. So yeah, I'm all workers. And I think but again, I think I know it's not the big topic, because the big topic is we are in a world now as well where women's voices are like demonetizing a lot, and we are sitting here and saying it is like we are female or not, like, but it is really important, because women will be like maybe not in films at the moment, but there is a censorship going on in the world. There is big propaganda like we are witnessing. So no matter what, we should be really holding hands to have the freedom of speech, of telling our stories, and especially as females, because it is yeah. I just want to say that side note. So it's so good to see all these students here. This scary.
Yeah. This is an extremely important point, and you have touched on it, more of you, that, working together and solidarity and fighting for your voice. Is there anything you would like to, because we're running out of time a little bit, is there anything you would like to share with the audience, with each other about this topic about being a woman in film.
Lawrence, I feel that the project is the most important. The cinema has no sex. It's just a project, and you have to fight for your projects. And maybe it was now I'm conscious of what I happened in my film school. We were just two, and I was totally unconscious at this moment. And I hope it helped. I think it helped me because here suddenly, wow, what so. Maybe it's no. I was so. I want to make a movie, and I want to fight for. So I was totally in the. Now I have the distance, and I can hope that was straight, but hopeful. I was so passionate at this moment that I don't see that progress. I was not conscious at that moment because I really want to make movie as a woman because I'm a woman, but I don't think I want to be a woman director and I want to be a director, and. Yes.
I think, when I write characters, I almost don't think about the gender at all. And I think it's a really good exercise is to write characters, write the story in the character. You're not thinking about the gender, and I even, you can test whether a character is good or not. Just try to change the gender and see if it works. And I can share with you one story when I was writing a TV series. It's quite a big character, not the main character, but we were somehow struggling with it. And then we had this idea: what if it is a woman? Because the guy was just not, somehow not interesting, and it worked and became a really good character. We had to change almost nothing, just the name, nothing else. But I think also, I've often witnessed when I'm writing with my friends, the men, they begin to struggle when we are making or creating female characters. It seems they go sort of blank, and how to make that an interesting character, and there's like the craziest thing that come up with this lesbian or something is that Bruno says it never don't know any women or something. So when it comes to female characters, it's always the lowest hanging fruits, and it's like it's some kind of a disorder. If we just stop thinking about the genders and we just think about the characters and the story, and then you can say as a woman or man or whatever gender. I mean, we have so many now. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I did this other film called Love Me Tender, and I call it a pop drama. So it's a smaller film, and it's about this woman, and she can't get out of her house because she's kind of like she has something about the outside world. Anyway, the film is funny. It's supposed to be kind of like a comedy, but no one understands that, which is fine. But when he got out, there was a bit of I wouldn't say like controversy, but I could see like a certain range of people of like maybe 50 years older and up males that they could not stand this woman. They not like bear her, and like in that range, not all of them, but and most women and like younger men, they were like having fun with the film, and I got asked like very strange questions, during those Q&As, like this woman, obviously she lives in her house, whatever, and at some point she's in her bath because she's doing some stuff. Anyways, and she has hair, like hair, she has hair in her legs, whatever, she's something like that. And those questions will be like, so, I have a question. And I'm like, yeah. So she has hair on her legs because she has like a mental problem, right? And I was like, do you know that actually we do grow hair as well, right? And, and the fact is that maybe she doesn't have to like shave it because she's not going outside. So she doesn't have the society, complaining about her hair. So but that's when I realized, that we need more of this other point of view.
Yeah.
Because it really seemed like unlove me, like a very strange, crazy woman. When I was actually just telling the story about a woman not trying to make any, point.
Yeah.
It was just, the story of this person who is in her house and she can't get out. So that was very interesting to actually see that reaction of yeah, but she's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, we need obviously we're not there yet, but having more and more diversity, whether you're men or women, older, younger, making films, it will help cinema. That's yeah.
Yes, I remember something also because give me an idea that on my last movie, The Line, the story of a woman who is fighting as a man. And for the first time in the reception, the public, women were very moved by the character. And not all men, but some men have problems because it's a woman who is fighting. And this film was, because I was thinking about the history of cinema, and fighting is with male. And when it's female, it's because of a social problem, prostitution or drug or something else. And I say, I can't find a film where you see a woman is fighting as a man because she's just fighting. She expresses herself as fighting, and it's very taboo because I make a lot of research. I meet people who work with fighting women, and I can feel that it's totally taboo. We don't speak about women with fighting as a man. And during the writing process, I say, no, I don't want to give an explication when you see an American movie with a man who is fighting, you say, oh yes, and everyone is sexy because he fights. And when it's a woman, you say, why she's fighting? She has a problem, And when I made this film, I was question all the history of cinema with a question of violence, and it was very, very interesting to see the reception of the male on the film, because suddenly they don't understand this character and this question of this is about history of cinema. Why you accept that a man is fighting? You say, wow, he's so sexy when he's fighting, and when it's a woman, say, what, she's crazy. What's the problem? Why?
Yeah. Oh, okay. We have gone over time. This has just been so much fun listening to you, and I think it's great to end on crazy women. So very or crazy men do, yes.
Yeah, or even say maybe as well, because there are many genders.
Yes.
So this is not male, female. We are binary. Yeah, like trans women. We have so. I think all of the things that we are going to see, and if we are rewriting some narrative, it is what is coming next is there's no gender.
Yeah,
I think.
But there is human in the here, so congratulations.
And please let's continue the discussion outside and think about these things together. Thank you so much for being here, Mason.